Good evening. Good evening, and please be seated. If you're vaccinated and comfortable, you may remove your masks. Good evening, and welcome to Albuquerque Academy's 66th commencement. And on what is the final, culminating event of the year, I'd like to start by saying, it's nice to meet you. Perhaps you'd better recognize me if I were in a small Zoom box telling you that we're going to radically alter how the Academy would approach school. You know, two-hour classes a day across 3 trimesters and small cohorts, wearing masks, and of course, keeping socially distanced at all times. But by the way, we'll begin online. Not the way any of us wanted to begin. And I'm not sure if you noticed, but people tended to have pretty strong opinions on, well, just about everything this year. And they frequently like to share them. They shared their thoughts with me over email, the phone, Zoom, at the grocery store, gas station, parking lot, even while waiting at a red light at Academy and Tramway. In fact, many of those who shared their points of view with me are here tonight. And I wouldn't want it any other way. I prefer fire and passion over apathy and indifference any day, even when that fire and passion is directed at me. Graduates, I hope you join me in feeling honored and grateful to be seated among people, your families and your teachers who are so incredibly dedicated to you. I am humbled by the passion, engagement, and commitment of the Academy community, and I consider myself both lucky and fortunate to be part of the Academy at this time. So class of 2021, let me not squander the next few minutes offering you advice on how you need to be true to yourself, which can either be a good or bad advice depending on who you think you are. Nor will I tell you that you're prepared to lead humanity through these unprecedented times using the Academy's mission as your collective moral compass. Our times, while strange and uncomfortable, are not unprecedented. Humanity has found its way out of floods, wars, plagues, meteor strikes, economic depressions, and other kinds of self-inflicted mayhem for thousands of years. We'll find our way out of this one too. Besides, most of you are just 17 and 18 years old. There's much more stuff for you to learn, experience, and process before you have to take on solving problems you did not create. When faced, instead, I will simply share with you what my first year at the Academy taught me. When faced with a fundamentally different environment, as was presented by COVID, one must change their strategy and approach if they hope to achieve a different outcome. While we could not control the public health orders, as a school, we could change how we approach teaching and learning, and we did. Yes, we changed our schedule and put in place all sorts of safety measures, but the real magic of this year is found in the courage of the faculty to rethink, reimagine, and reinvent themselves. Our classes were reduced to 12 students. Our classes were reduced to 12 students because the faculty agreed without hesitation to teach twice their normal load. Instead of resisting change, they embraced the challenge and absolutely leaned in because they love you. They showed us that bravery requires vulnerability. They had to leave behind their years of accumulated expertise and learn new tools, new techniques, and new ways of supporting and connecting with their students. During a normal year, we don't always get to model vulnerability as much as we should, but it is a vital lesson for a meaningful life. So class of 2021, perhaps the greatest lessons learned this year from the Academy were not understanding the concept of justice in Plato's Republic, or taking a derivative to find the absolute maximum or minimum values of a function, or creating an original piece of art that exhibits an advanced use of dimensional elements and principles. Perhaps the greatest lesson your teachers and the Academy faculty as a whole taught you is that bravery is another type of resiliency. They certainly taught this to me. And here's a tip. Even when you are not brave, pretend to be. People can't tell the difference, and I speak from experience. The second thing I realized is that you may not always end up where you thought you were going, but you often end up where you were meant to be. Let me explain. In October, I moved into my new home in Albuquerque, and my lives from New York and the Middle East collided in a sea of boxes representing 48 years of accumulated stuff. I opened a box that contained mementos from my childhood, and I came across an old horseshoe and smiled, thinking back to my 6-year-old self. As a child, when asked what I wanted to be when I grew up, I always said a blacksmith. I didn't mean someone like the cool metalworking blacksmiths of today's modern art scene, but an actual farrier, someone who shoes horses. While most kids wanted to be firemen or astronauts or doctors, as a 6-year-old in 1979, I aspired to a career somewhat obsolete. I actually remember my mom telling me to stop asking people standing near me to bend their knees so I can lift their foot and pretend to shoe them. Obviously, I did not become a blacksmith, but the drive to work with my hands, to build, to create, and even to protect has always been a part of me. Instead of molding metal and forging steel, I've spent my life building teams and shaping schools. So maybe my career as an educator has made me a blacksmith after all. I have been allowed to forge, shape, and burnish schools I absolutely love. I've also had to learn how to take the heat. As the saying goes, out of the hottest fire comes the strongest steel. And I am so grateful that under the heat of the New Mexican sun and within the cauldron that is Albuquerque Academy, like you, I have been made stronger, grittier, and more durable than when I first arrived. We are told to follow our dreams, but I encourage you to be flexible with them and allow them to change and grow with you. And remember, too, that perhaps like me, you may just have to wait a bit to see how they come true. And remember, a small act of kindness is worth more than the greatest intention. We have all been given a gift, so let's remember to act. So let me say congratulations, parents, graduates, faculty, and staff. I know this is a poignant day filled with happiness and tears of joy for accomplishment, though not without some tears of sadness for the inevitable goodbyes. I know we all think that how we are feeling today is different from other years, but I'll let you in on a little secret that I've learned as a veteran of 26 high school graduations. All graduations feel like this. So class of 2021, barring the words of my senior English teacher who ended every one of his classes with the same words, go forth and spread beauty and light. Welcome. It is now my pleasure to introduce Carter Elias and Nathan Roberts, our student speakers. I'll ask them to make their way to the stage now. Nathan Roberts is a senior class officer and has served his class for the last 3 years in this capacity. Although this year presented challenges, he and his fellow officers joyfully plan something every month to mark the final year of the class of 2021 and make it both memorable and unifying. Nathan is a natural leader, serving as the captain of the football team and has a talent for bringing students together and creating a sense of community. Carter Elias is a Student Senate president and has served on the Student Senate for all 3 years. He joined the Academy in 9th grade and has been a strong advocate for his class. He revels in spirited debate and conversation. He is tenacious in representing the interest of the students and generous with his time and good humor. Carter is also on the tennis team, and he is the president of the Political Science Club. First, we'll hear from Nathan Roberts.
I would first like to start by thanking all the family members and friends for being here to support the class of 2021 on such a momentous occasion. I imagine some of you have traveled from far and wide to be here today. Many of you boarded planes, packed up cars, and set aside work time to make the journey here. Some of you came from cities, others from small towns. There are those in attendance from neighboring states, but also faraway countries. And then there are many of you who could be out the door and in your seat in just 10 minutes. Moments of celebration truly do have a remarkable effect of bringing people together. And for every person here today to support us and all our other 7 years at this school, we could not be more thankful. As we celebrate our years of hard work here at the Academy, I'd like to ask my classmates why they chose this school. For most of us, it was probably the prestigious education, competitive atmosphere, and plethora of opportunity. When I walked onto campus for my first day of classes back in the 6th grade, that was certainly my expectation. I can remember my sister and I hopping out of the back seat of our mom's car and looking up at the lower campus quad. I had traded in my rolly backpack for a brand new middle school one. I was ready. I was going to learn so much. Looking back on my years here, Albuquerque Academy has certainly fulfilled those 6th grade expectations. And I think most of my classmates would agree. But I also think many of us would agree that we missed something in our calculations of what life would be like at this school. Of course, we have all learned so much. We've found clubs and sports we enjoy. We've grown as writers, read great texts, discovered the functions of the world around us and the world that came before us, and of course, we've all labored through the dreaded geometric proof. But if we remove all of that, all that makes Albuquerque Academy, we are left still with a place that is truly special. I often hear students joke about the bags, phones, and musical instruments left about the campus. Anyone could walk up and take any of those items, so naturally, jokes about the cushy atmosphere of Academy do arise. And perhaps those jokes are very validated. One could argue that a place like Academy is great because all the wrongdoers are caught and then held accountable. I would disagree. Because from my understanding, one could easily walk up and take any one of those bags. The community would suffer, and the individual would not. No amount of accountability will change that. The truth of the matter is that Albuquerque Academy's great community is not a result of the accountability we hold for one another, but rather of the individual character of each and every student, faculty member, and staff member here. How amazing is that? That we are fortunate to have spent these years here in a place in which almost every member surrounding us approaches life with a general amount of honesty, respect, and love for the life around them. That is what makes Academy special. Immanuel Kant says that our duty is to improve ourselves, to cultivate our minds, and when we find ourselves going astray, to bring the moral law to bear upon ourselves. Can you think of a better way to express what we strive for here at Academy? In life? The bitter truth many of us will come to grips with is that the world is not Albuquerque Academy. As we walk up the path and out into the world before us, there will be people that lie to others, that disrespect others, and there will be people that treat others with hate. But in the face of the struggles, the defeats, and the hate that one might face in this world, we must never abandon our duty to others. Most of us were fortunate to be attending Academy during the conception of our already beloved school song. One line that sticks with me every time I hear or sing the song, usually to the displeasure of those around me, is the call to light the way, Academy. This great cry to action in our school song can't help but pair itself with the truth of the world's darkness. But our song doesn't tell us to lurk in the shadows or to forfeit ourselves to the dark around us. No, we sing to light the way. To rephrase both our song and Kant, we have a duty to be a light in this world. We have a duty to be kind, to be honest, to lift others up, to not steal or cheat, and to always hate and to never hate. That was a close one. You guys were. To never hate and to always love. There's no doubt in my mind that we've all already shared in this devotion to lighting the way. Otherwise, our campus would not be what it is. Otherwise, bags would not be strewn about with no fear of theft. Soon, many of us will be off in the real world. We'll meet all types of people and be in all types of new places. My one hope for all of us is that we hold steadfast to the values instilled in us by this school, that we spread all that we have gained in this great community to the world around us, that we are always honest with others, respect others, and love others, that we never stray from our duty to spread the light instilled in us by this great school. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I thought a lot about what I wanted to say in front of you all. I did some research about things like high school graduation themes, and I watched a bunch of great graduation speeches. But you know what I realized about all of these speeches? They're really limited. Each of them only talked about one thing. So to make sure that every one of you gets something out of this speech, I figured I would relate an entire list of high school graduation advice I found during my internet research. You're welcome. Ready? Here we go. Believe in yourself. Our class united when. Set goals for success. Giving back. Follow your dreams. High school mistakes I learned from. Why I don't want to leave high school. My best high school memories. Overcoming obstacles, the importance of school, never stop learning. Even though Aaron shoved you into that locker in 6th grade, here's why you shouldn't dedicate your entire life seeking revenge. As I was reading through all of those general and weirdly specific themes, I realized that none of them really fit. This past year has been one of similarly general yet personal challenges. We all kind of waited. We waited for someone to step in and make things right, make things normal again. Instead, we watched as people running nations, companies, and schools were unable to make things normal. I think, perhaps, that this is much more positive than it seems at first. Yes, there was no one with absolute knowledge or a magic wand standing by to prevent bad things from happening. But more importantly, all of these people were making the best of whatever situation they found themselves in. We may not be running things or making decisions at this moment, but we're doing the exact same thing. And then in this past year, we've gone through cancellations, closures, and frustrations. But we also learned how to make the best of whatever challenges were thrown our way. I came to Academy in 9th grade, when most of you had been here since 6th. Instead of feeling alone or out of place, you all welcomed me. I felt community within the student body and built strong connections with teachers. I'll be honest, I had never experienced something like that at any other school I had attended. This same sense of community within our grade never disappeared and was the reason this last year's challenges were not insurmountable. Even though none of the sage advice I listed at the beginning really fits, here's what I can say. This past year was what some would call less than ideal and what others would call absolutely awful. It's impossible to get around that fact. But our resilience as a class, from events set up by class officers to individual projects, bodes very well for our future. You know, before this year, I never imagined that I would miss driving to school or rushing to complete an assignment in the Commons during passing period, or simply walking down the path like we've all done hundreds of times. Maybe that's another gift of this year, reminding everyone that sometimes it's the small things that truly matter. I try not to take things for granted, but maybe this experience helps remind us that adversity fuels appreciation. Our senior year wasn't one of normalcy and tradition. It was, however, one of perspective and gratitude for things both mundane and meaningful. And with that, I'd like to take a moment to express my gratitude to a few of those people who made Academy the great experience it was. Mrs. Flag, thank you for conveying your passion for biology and keeping me always on track in Senate. Mr. Ovett, thank you for being a constant source of knowledge and humor. Mr. Himwich, thank you for your many stories and ramblings about life and Latin. Dr. Lenhart, thank you for being a source of support and for making every year in 1012 as good as possible. And finally, my parents. Thank you for making me who I am today and for always being there no matter what. Although I've only named a few people, I find myself surrounded today by friends and mentors, all of whom have made Academy truly special. Despite some of the disappointments that we experienced, I'm honored to have spent the last 4 years of my life with all of you. Congratulations, class of 2021.
As is our tradition at commencement, we'd like now to present 5 awards. 3 student awards, followed by our 2 highest awards for outstanding classroom teaching. Before we do that, we'd like to acknowledge the Sims family who is with us tonight and whom without we would not be at this beautiful school. Thank you. I know they're very humble, but we did want to acknowledge them. Before we start with the awards, I'd like to acknowledge 5 teachers who have announced their retirement from the Academy after lengthy tenures at our school. Jean Mariner has been at the Academy for 16 years, Jill Brown for 20 years, Lisa Rhodes for 25 years, and Rolf Locke for 29 years, and Tony Escoval for 41 years. Please stand so we can recognize you. And now for the student awards. The Class Scholar. Class Scholar is presented to the graduating senior who has the highest weighted GPA. This year's Class Scholar is Daniel Shapiro. The Academy Award, awarded to a senior, chosen by the students of the junior and senior classes for qualities of leadership, loyalty, and character. This year's recipient is a person with a deep sense of community membership. She is a true community builder, a friend to all. She is always ready to offer help or to patiently listen without judgment. She is a young woman who evinces gratitude for every opportunity and for friends and family, characterized by a strong, unwavering sense of equity and justice and an abiding love of learning. This year, the Academy Award goes to Lily Kim. The Head of School Award. This award is presented to the student who best exemplifies the ideals of the Academy through spirit, citizenship, and a contribution to the life of the school. This year's recipient is a leader who befriends students across social groupings and interests. He shows up consistently as a listener who seeks to understand differing perspectives before offering his own. He celebrates the success of others with a full heart and joyful enthusiasm. An exceedingly talented thespian, he's a triple threat on the stage, as well as an intellect and loyal friend. He is the first to volunteer, and he brings kindness and exuberance to every endeavor. It is with great affection we honor Joey Vigil with the 2021 Head of School Award. Now I'd like to ask Trudy Gage, former Academy history teacher, winner herself of the Gage Award in 2007, and wife of Darrell, to join me on the stage to assist in the presentation of the 2021 Gage Award. The Gage Award was established in December 2005 to honor both the longevity of Darrell Gage's service to the Academy and the loving nature of that service. It is awarded annually to a teacher who, like Darrell, enriches the Academy community through infectious enthusiasm for his or her discipline, deep devotion to students, care for and loyalty to colleagues, positive and unflagging work ethic, understanding of the interconnectedness of school community, and a joie de vivre. Leave it to Academy that we put French in. Darrell never gave up on a student, and he will never be forgotten by those lives he touched. The phrase that sums up this teacher's attitude toward all of school life is "consider it done." Whether out in the parking lot scanning students onto campus or summiting a mountain with a group of ninth graders, he is a person who sees a school need and volunteers without fanfare or hesitation. Mr. Fred Rogers told children to look for the helpers, and he is one of the most generous and community-minded people we have on campus. As a sponsor of senior projects, he listens patiently to the wildest of student ideas and tries to help each of them realize their vision. As a member of the ex-ed department, he serves as mentor to new hires, and he is a person who always wants to keep our program growing. In the midst of a pandemic, he envisioned a pump track for mountain biking and then put in long hours and much sweat equity into building the park that provided great outdoor release for students while they were still studying on Zoom. Kind, creative, warm, funny, spirited, and student-centered, this year's Gage Award goes to Michael Hanselman. The next award honors the contributions of Frank Slevin to the students and faculty of Albuquerque Academy. In his 17 years of service to the school as chair of the English department, Mr. Slevin balanced rigor with compassion, promoted patient inquiry, and championed graceful expression. A determined generalist who displays thoroughness, judiciousness, and a great humor in all he undertook, Mr. Slevin consistently manifested his belief that quality is joy. The award in his memory is given at commencement to a teacher nominated by students, faculty, and staff whose contributions most resemble Mr. Slevin's. There is a distinct set of themes that characterize this year's winner of the FX Slevin Award: passion, brilliance, and dedication. Passion to reveal to students the beauty and elegance of math and the myriad ways that math describes the world around us. Dedication to the students who cite his patient ability to help them find their own individual journey to understand even the most difficult of mathematical concepts. He generously meets with them at lunch, before and after school, to explain mathematical ideas in so many different ways so that they can always find their way to deep understanding. A teacher who faithfully grounds his pedagogy in research about learning and motivation. He was one of the first to flip his classroom and adopt an inquiry-based approach to learning. He has taught for GOA, created videos about math that reach people across the globe, and he runs the Academy Math Club, enthusiastically attended because he taps into students' intrinsic motivation. It is with great pleasure and honor that I present the 2021 FX Slevin Award to David Metzler. When I told individual faculty and staff that Noreen Kassam had agreed to be this year's commencement speaker, their eyes lit up. To a person, each expressed joy and pride in Noreen as a human being, as well as a deeply patriotic public servant. Noreen is a beloved alumna among all who know her, and is with the greatest pleasure that I welcome her back to the Academy, to the open arms of her community. The Academy has cherished her since she was a tiny sixth grader, to now where, though still small in stature, and I can relate, she carries the enormous responsibility of keeping our elected national leaders safe from harm. Driven by a strong desire to pursue a career in public service that began during her early days at the Academy, Noreen Kassam, class of '08, has spent her career in several roles within the federal government and serving international NGOs. Most recently, in February 2021, Noreen was appointed as the Associate Director of Presidential Advance in the Executive Office of the President at the White House. Previously, Noreen served as a Director of Advance and Special Advisor to the Secretary of Commerce and held various roles within the Department of State, FEMA, and the intelligence community. Between 2017 and 2021, Noreen founded and managed her own security consulting firm, NAC Global, where she sought to advance her mission serving communities at home and abroad through a dedication to providing innovative strategies and solutions for individuals and international NGOs facing security risks in some of the most volatile and underprivileged communities around the world. As the founder and managing partner, Noreen felt passionately that NAC Global needed to be aligned with her core values, deeply rooted in compassion, and invested in the belief that safety and security is a basic human right for every individual. Through her vast experience, Noreen saw firsthand how even the smallest efforts by a few individuals can make a lasting impact on communities both at home and abroad. I, too, saw this lived out during my time abroad, and I admire Noreen's commitment and empathy. Noreen is a graduate of the George Washington University, receiving her BA in International Affairs and specializing in conflict and security. She was chosen to be the commencement speaker at her own graduation from GW. I am honored and touched that Noreen did not hesitate to accept the invitation to address the class of 2021 and was able to carve out time to be away from her vital work to return to New Mexico to her grateful alma mater and share her insights and wisdom with us today. Please welcome to the podium, Noreen Kassam, class of 2008.
Oh my. Good evening, everyone. And thank you, Julianne, for your very kind introduction. Class of 2021, congratulations. Today is your day. It's all about you. I still vividly remember the way I felt on this day. And all these years later, I still remember it. And for years to come, you will too, even if you don't remember who your commencement speaker was. Before I go any further, I want to thank the entire Academy community, my classmates, my fellow alumni, and the faculty and staff, many of whom are here today. You made me the person I am. I stand up here today because of you. You inspired me to work hard, you trusted me, you loved me, mentored me, disciplined me, and ultimately let me be me. You are all a fundamental part of who I am today and who I will always be. And along with my heartfelt thanks, I am also pretty sure I owe most of you an apology for the shenanigans that I engaged in as a student. In class of 2021, I hear you know what I'm talking about. I've been hearing about your class over the last couple days. So graduates, stop for a second and look around at the people around you. I'm serious, look around. The people here today, your family, your mentors, your classmates, they have shaped and changed your lives more than you know, and they will continue to. None of our successes are ours alone. They are shared with your families who supported you, who drove you to school and countless practices and performances and tournaments, shared with your teachers and your coaches who came in early and stayed in late to help you learn and grow, and shared with your classmates who have helped you become the very best versions of yourself. This community, this group of people, they will remain in your lives and they will be rooting for you and wishing for nothing but your success. They will always be a part of your journey. So, when your family calls, Pick up the phone and tell them about your day. Check in on your friends. When you're in town, stop by campus, say hello to your old teachers and coaches, or just send them an occasional email on how you're doing. It really matters. When asked if I would speak this year, I was humbled given the long line of incredible alumni that this school has. I was also a bit surprised given my record of academics and shenanigans on this campus. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little offended because they really only ask old people to give these speeches. All right, class of 2021, this is the part where I have to say something meaningful and you're supposed to listen. The things I share with you today, they're not going to be new or earth-shattering or novel. I'd just like to take us all of us, back to the basics. And before going any further, I really should set the record straight. Let's just say I was never the most academically inclined student in my class. I was not a National Merit Scholar. I had less than stellar grades, and several times I was advised by my teachers that I should take more unique courses in line with my academic abilities and approaches to scholastic activities, as evidenced by the times I got kicked out of math class. To be fair, years removed, it is abundantly clear to me, and someday you all will realize this as well, that the classmates at the academy that I had were the most incredible group of peers I will ever have. And I know the same is true for you. I'm also not the first person in my class to give this commencement speech. Anyway, the point is that I by no means am claiming to be any smarter than you in any way, shape, or form. In fact, from what I hear about your class, I'm quite sure you all are smarter than me on all fronts. But as a statement of pure mathematical fact, a key skill that I have lived longer than you, I think. My goal this evening is to hopefully help you reflect on your experiences with the perspective of someone who has over a decade removed from those seats you sit in today. They might actually be the same chairs. And hopefully, as you find your place in the world and become the person you strive to be, some of these things will be useful to you. I'll try to sum it up into my 7 guiding touchstones, one to mark each of my years on this campus, and that are deeply rooted in the mission of this school, that as students and graduates, we serve our communities with wisdom, conviction, and compassion. So first, be resilient, real novel. Over the last 15 months, I know you know what this word means in more ways you could have ever imagined. Carter summed it up. He summed it up really well. I don't need to tell you that life is going to be unpredictable and filled with adversity in the years ahead, often with things that are entirely outside of your control. You will get knocked down. But when you do, it's how you pick yourself up that matters. And know that this school has prepared you to get back up. I was in Ghana a few years back, walking with the Secretary of Commerce to her car in the motorcade, and then needed to expeditiously get to my car in the motorcade. And for those of you who don't know, all motorcades abide strictly by pirate code. Fall behind, get left behind. As I hustled to my car, I tripped and fell face first into the gravel. Ripped my suit, pants, scraped up my arms, bleeding palms, but all I kept thinking was pirate code. Fall behind, get left behind. And you really don't want to be left behind in a foreign country, let me tell you. And so even though I'd gotten the wind knocked out of me and I was thoroughly embarrassed, I got back up, I hustled my rest of the way and went to the car. When life knocks you down, whatever the circumstances, you just got to get back up and keep going. The pandemic knocked all of us down this year, every person sitting here on this field today. And it's been a year marked by adversity and uncertainty that brought the world to its knees, changed our very way of life, and took away so many of the traditional experience that define an academy senior year for you. You could have sulked in the face of this loss, and honestly, no one would have blamed you. But you didn't. From speaking to your teachers and hearing of your accomplishments and listening to Carter and Nathan, it's clear to me that you faced these last 15 months with resilience in your spirit and in your attitude. That you found ways to find joy and nurture relationships and build back better. This resilience that you have found should give you the confidence that when life gives you the unexpected, or you fall flat on your face, literally or figuratively, you have what it takes to get back up. I grew up on this campus in the shadow of September 11th. While you learned about it in the history books, I had just started 6th grade, just on the other edge of campus, alongside 140 new classmates. The biggest thing I worried about was finding my way on this very large campus and fitting in amongst my new class. But sitting in that sixth grade building on the West Campus 20 years ago, watching the World Trade Center towers fall, that day not only changed the world, it changed the trajectory of my life. For me and for many of my classmates, it was the defining moment of our youth that shattered our innocence. It was our response to that event that shaped our values and beliefs and passions and our motivations. It started me on the path that I walk today. And the same has just happened for all of you. The world has fundamentally changed from February 2019. But I promise you that when you reflect on this 20 years from now, perhaps at this podium, this global pandemic you have just lived through, your resilience in responding to it, it will have a lasting impact on your perspectives, your understanding of the world around you, and the direction of your life. I truly, truly hope you allow this experience to shape you for the better in helping you figure out what is important to you so you can take that forward. Second, be vocal. Recognize the voice that the Academy experience has provided you and use that platform and privilege to work for the betterment of those who have not had this gift. There are so many around the country and world who would give anything to be sitting in the seats you are sitting in today. Always appreciate what you have been given, those who have helped you, and the incredible platform for change that the Academy has afforded you. From what I hear, this class has done their very best to test boundaries, forge new paths, and refuse to accept no as the answer at face value. Your teachers have told me that you as a class, you dig deeper, you persist, you question, you speak your mind. You got some edge. You don't conform. You go around, over, and under to find a new way. You pay attention to the fine print. You find a way to get away with breaking the rules on technicalities. While I'm not sure if your teachers have actually told you this, know that they secretly love that about you, and they are actually in some part responsible for it. They gave you the support and the space to build that tenacity so that you can speak up against injustices both locally and globally. And I know they did, because they did it for me in my class too. For me, it started very simple, with this no wearing hats in the building rule. I'm not sure if that's still a thing around here, but I have had a very complex relationship with this rule for many, many years. I just wanted to understand the nuances of the situation. Like, could I wear my hat in the building? Why not? What was going on? What was the origin of this particular rule? Did it apply after school? Maybe over the summers? Did it apply if I was standing just on the cusp of the door but not really entering into the building? If you're wondering, the answer to all these questions are yes, and I'm pretty sure Ms. Lydon still has several of my hats that she has confiscated over the years. But in all seriousness, the Academy has broadened your horizons and given you the space to find your voice in challenging the status quo. The world has no shortage of social, political, and environmental challenges. And I know that you are already working to build the future you want to see. For those of you who have already found your voice in speaking up against the injustices and inequalities, know that the world is listening. For those of you who are still finding your voice, know that your voice matters. You are the generation that literally has the power to change the world, save lives, bring attention to issues, and build a better future with just the technology at your fingertips. You are writing the story for generations that will come after you. What kind of world do you want that to be? You have the opportunity to find your voice and leave the lives of others, your community, your country, and this world just a little bit better than it was before you walk into it. And be assured, you have left this campus and our Academy community better already. Third, be humble. Humility asks us to be more open-minded. It asks us to build platforms to engage in productive and respectful dialogue. It asks us to look at things with new perspectives as we continue to broaden our horizons. A few years ago, I was part of the first team flying to Havana for a meeting with the Cuban government officials to plan the historic visit of the Secretary of Commerce. A half a century of diplomatic isolation meant that we didn't have the typical institutional knowledge or local support provided by the US Embassy. Instead, armed with my mediocre high school Spanish, a class that Senor Villegas made me audit due to my lackluster academic performance, and questionable attendance record, we had to wing it. And we had no choice but to be humble in attitude and approach and in finding common ground in negotiating the details of the visit. Class of 2021, I know I'm giving this speech to national merit scholars, state championship athletes, published scientists, award-winning artists, and those with many, many more accomplishments. You have accomplished wild amount of success in your time on this campus. But let's be honest, you're still only 17 and 18 years old. You certainly do not know everything. I definitely do not know everything. And the point is, that's okay. That's normal, that's to be expected. But be humble in recognizing that. And recognize that in diversity of thoughts, in diversity of opinions, of backgrounds, of beliefs, differences that those that you can see and can't see, they are not just okay, but they are vital to our collective good and they make us stronger. Humility challenges us to be truthful with ourselves. When we're wrong or make a mistake, own it and apologize. It's not a sign of weakness, it's just the right thing to do. No one is perfect. We're not always gonna make the best decisions, I promise. We're just not. But don't ever be afraid to ask for help or advice or say, I don't know. I've said those words more times than I can remember on this campus to those people. And I also now have said those words to the President of the United States. Be honest with yourselves. Own up to what you don't know and open yourselves to learning with humility. Fourth, be kind. This one is short but super important. Be compassionate and caring and helpful to those around you, those you know and those you do not know. The most basic acts of human kindness do have the power to change the world, or at the very least, someone's world. It is by giving that we too actually receive. And for years, Academy alumni have done just that. Large and small acts of kindness and service to others. That is who we are as a community today. And today, we add the 166 of you as links in the chain of generations of Academy alums who have gone out in the world to change it for the better. So here's my ask, because I get to make an ask. Just even one small act of kindness a day. It is my ask that you do one nice thing for someone every day, because how you treat others is ultimately a reflection of you and your values. Fifth, be attentive. And I'm not just saying this for those of you who stopped paying attention to me about 6 minutes ago. Be attentive to your friendships. My Academy classmates were my best friends who defined my experience here. We may or may not have borrowed the bookstore golf cart and taken joyrides to Starbucks, maybe crashed a few along the way, ditched campus during free periods for Burger King chicken fries, and changed classroom clocks in the middle of class to convince an unnamed teacher that class was over. We all grew up together, and we know things about each other, and we trust that you will never make them public. I hope you hold that tradition. But these experiences alone are not why they remain my best friends. Even as we build our own lives thousands of miles apart, what has kept our relationship strong is our attentiveness to each other's lives long after we left this campus. These friends sitting around you today have not only helped you navigate high school, but will also be important in helping you navigate the ups and downs of life's to come, or if you need to give a commencement speech and need a wingman. Thank you, David. Be attentive to your mentors. One of the most unique things about the Academy is the mentorship that our teachers and coaches provided us in helping us grow. They went far above and beyond to help us navigate complex times with kindness, thoughtfulness, and compassion. They challenged the assumptions being made in the world around us, forced us to look at the world with an open mind and a respect for others, helped us identify our strengths and our aspirations, and provided us a safe space to ask questions, make mistakes, learn, and grow. Even over a decade after I graduated, these are still the mentors I look to for guidance and for grounding. Don't take these relationships for granted. Continue to invest in them, stay in each other's lives, and make time for each other no matter where your different paths take you. But also be attentive to the new people you will soon meet. You will continue to find friendships and mentors in places and at times where you least expect it. People of different ages, of different experiences, from different walks of life, on different journeys than your own. But people with whom you share similar values, with whom you feel a unique connection, who challenge you to do better and be better people. People who invest in your happiness and in your success. New friends who you trust with your life and your heart, and who help you truly understand the meaning of joy. It is my most sincere hope and wish that you go into the world and that you find these people, and you hold on to them. Hold on to them tight. Be attentive and open to those connections, and to really experience them, you'll have to put yourself out there a bit. Sixth, be intentional. Be intentional and conscious of how you spend your time and where you direct your energy. I was first socialized to this idea of finite time on this campus, and I have come to the conclusion over the years that one of the most valuable things in life is time. It doesn't matter where you're from or how powerful you are, whether you are a high school senior or the President of the United States, time is the great equalizer. Everyone has 24 hours in their day. You cannot demand more of it, and you cannot create more of it. As you go forward, you will have choices to make on how you spend your time. So be intentional in how you spend it. And how you spend it should be aligned with the things that you find most important in your life. Think about what this year has taught all of us. What is most important in your life, and what is not? This pandemic was the first time most of us, were forced to recognize what you took for granted. Meeting friends at Flying Star, grabbing pizza at Dion's, attending class on campus, playing sports on this very field, or even just a simple hug or high five among friends. When your normal was shattered, some of the simplest and most mundane life moments you took for granted became the most important and the most missed. In this year of uncertainty, of fear, of your entire world being turned upside down, what did you hold on to most? What or who did you miss the most? What did you do to find grounding and strength? In being intentional and asking yourself these questions, you will better understand the things that really matter in life, the things that don't. Hold on to what matters and let go of what doesn't. As the world normalizes and as you all emerge from this pandemic as the greatest generation of 22nd hand washers, where will you spend your time? And finally, be hungry. And I don't mean from extra munch pudding in the dining hall. Don't be afraid to fail, be open to new opportunities, and be prepared to work really, really hard. Don't feel failure. If you haven't realized it already, it's important that at the earliest possible point, you realize that when you fail, it will not be the end of the world. Failure will not define you, but how you deal with it will. In case it's not already abundantly clear, I have failed a number of times, math tests in particular. Mr. Shafani afforded me the greatest opportunity to fail the most number of math tests. But his greatest life lesson to me wasn't quadratic equations or geometry formulas, none of which I remember. He helped me understand that failure will not define me, that there's always another chance to work harder and study harder, to ask for more help, to try again. And as you go forward, remember that you can afford failure. What you cannot afford is to not try your hardest or not push yourself, to stretch yourself and expand your horizons. The path to your goals and aspirations will rarely be straightforward, and it will not be paved as clearly as the red brick ones you walked here this morning. There is no right journey. What is most important is that you continue to find opportunities to grow, even if these opportunities take you down unpaved dirt roads. Growing up, I wanted more than anything to work in the White House. But after I graduated from college, I ended up being offered a job at the Department of Commerce, working in the office of the secretary. I knew absolutely nothing about commerce or business and math, and quite frankly, I had no interest in it. But I was told it was a great team, so I took that leap of faith and challenged my abilities, expanded my horizons, and laid the bricks for my own path that led me to this role today. Being hungry also means being ready to work harder than you have ever worked in your entire lives. Each of you knows that hard work is what it takes to go from being average to great. And your litany of championships and awards and accolades tell me that you do know this. You know how to put in the work. I have the best job in the world with some of the best people in the world, but I'll be straight with you, it's not always glitz and glamour. It's often long days and unyielding pressures and high stress and exhaustion to a level you would not imagine. But I'll tell you what, I'm the happiest I've ever been, living out a dream that started right here on this campus. I'm a first-generation American, brown Muslim kid from Albuquerque with immigrant parents who never went to college. I tell you that for no other reason than to tell you that each of you who has walked up that red brick path can do anything and be anything. So let me leave you with a few parting words because I know you're ready for them as you sit in the heat after my time at the podium. When you look at the academy on the surface, it looks a lot like other schools. A combination of buildings and trees, parking lots, athletic fields like the ones some of these folks sit on. But no matter how nice these things are, and ours are very, very nice, don't get me wrong, they themselves are not what really make our school unique. It is actually the spirit of service and community that resonates in the hearts and minds of each student that has graduated from here, even long after we venture far beyond the shadows of the Sandia Mountains. So class of 2021, as you walk off campus this evening for the first time as alumni, know that the Spirit will carry you as you go into the world and change the lives of others. I believe with total and complete conviction that this institution has given us the ability to do well in our lives. But more importantly, it's given us the tools to do good with our lives. There are so many reasons to give up, become detached and cynical by the world around us. But I firmly believe that that is not who we are. The spirit that flows through our campus and the values instilled in us by the Academy has given us the ability to always find and seek out opportunities to do good. And that, to me, is the greatest gift this school has given to each of us. As I have tried to forge my own path since I walked off this campus 13 years ago, I have leaned on my academy experience and learned the values of being resilient and vocal and humble and kind and attentive and intentional and hungry. I hope that these things can provide some perspective as you walk down your own individual paths. So charge ahead, Chargers. Class of 2021, I have high hopes for you. I cannot wait to see what you do in the years ahead as you join the generations of Academy alumni before you, serving your country and your communities with wisdom, conviction, and compassion. Congratulations.
Thank you, Noreen, for those remarks. It's an honor to be associated with you as a fellow alumnus of the Albuquerque Academy. You're a tremendous ambassador for the Academy and generally just a great person, so thank you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tom Smith, or some of you out there probably know me as Tommy, because that's what I went by when I was at school here. But I am the current chair of the Board of Trustees of the Albuquerque Academy. I'm also an alum and a parent of a graduating senior this year. Obviously, this is a graduation that has extra importance for me, just as it does for all of you. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I want to thank all of you, families, friends, alumni, faculty, and staff, for your support of these students and of the Academy. We appreciate all that you have done, particularly over the past year, to get these young men and women to this day. Thank you. Given all these men and women have been through over the past year, I know they will be able to overcome any challenges presented to them. They will represent the Academy well and will make enormous impacts as they serve their local and national communities with wisdom, conviction, and compassion. So, by the power vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the Albuquerque Academy, I hereby declare that the members of the class of 2021 have fulfilled all applicable requirements and now are to forever be known as graduates of the Albuquerque Academy. Congratulations.
Before we award the diplomas, I would like to ask our faculty and staff who work at the Albuquerque Academy and have children or grandchildren in the class of 2021 to gather near the appropriate riser so you can accompany your graduate to the stage and assist in awarding their diplomas. Class of 2021, please prepare to receive your diplomas. Catherine Cordelia Alcalde. Sean Cameron Allen. Grace Sanchez Archbeck, cum laude. Ryan A. Ardalan, cum laude. Brian Joseph Armijo, formal faculty member and athletic director Joe Armijo, will assist in awarding the diploma. Idris Gael Ashrel Hansborough. Dana Renee Baca. Isabel Elise Baca. Trinity Catherine Bedell. Jesus Enrique Barraza. Johannes Athanasius Bauer. Penelope McVeigh Bennick. Allison Renee Bernier. Sakai Miriam Berry. Alicia Nimish Bott. Rosa Eliani Bieber Stanley, cum laude. Megan Elizabeth Blackwell, cum laude. Gavin Palmer Blevins, faculty member Martha Palmer, will assist in awarding the diploma. Eric Bojorquez Melendez. Marguerite Anderson Boone. Sophia Isabel Brito. Emily Elizabeth Brody. Riley Rose Burns. Zoe Mingmei Callet Wong. Daisy Maria Canales. Taylor Lane Caperton. Nicholas Reed Carson. Travis Christopher Chant. Dina Lillian Chefchis. Diana Chinikova. Marwa Omar Chohan, in absentia. Stephen Chinja Chu. Bridget Rose Contreras Ridlington. Ryan Joseph Dalton. William Haas Daly. Caleb Leeton Deng, cum laude. Thomas Waite Dawkins. Alexandria Elizabeth Dolan, cum laude. John Edward Dominguez Trujillo. Maxwell Schuyler Dreyfus. Jared Ambrose Duran. Gretchen Olivia Eberhardt. Sophie Jane Edwards. Carter Allen Elias. Liliana Angelica Esparza. Mary Lynn Farmer. Joden Fine. Charles William Fleenor. Lori Mariah Fleenor. Kate Ann Florsheim. Zoe Josephine Foster. Ethan James Fricky. Destin Marie Gaffney. Josephine America Gamble. Jonah Elan Garden Schwartz. Sidi Benjamin Gardner.
Amy Rose Jories. Faculty member Susan Jories will assist in awarding the diploma. Amadeo Miquelion González. Ana Isabel González. Krista Ellis Gorham. Annalise Alma Ángela Granados. Joshua Giovanni Guillen. Isabel Maria Gurney. Chance Stratton Harvey. Iman Alim Hasham. Hannah Beth Hearn. Justin Edward Hickey, cum laude. Elliot Bruno Hunter, cum laude. Mackenzie Louise Gerald, cum laude. Amelia Montgomery Johnson, cum laude. Lily Shinchong Johnson. Elliot Michael Jones. Former faculty and current staff member Mickey Jones and staff member Michelle Jones will assist in awarding the diploma. Grace Dawn Jorgensen. Lauren J.C. Keller. Director of Admissions Amy Keller will assist in awarding the diploma. Justin Chun-hee Kim. Lily Allen Kim. Faculty member David Kim will assist in awarding the diploma. Ethan Harkey Klein. Soong Kundaling. John Patrick Lambie. Liam Cole Lambie. Andrew Chase Lanting. Alexander Abuzelman Lee. Lorelei Elizabeth Logan. Stella Joan Marr. Case Robert Manifold, cum laude. Aaliyah Renee Maris. Jaden Brooke Markman. Antonio Emiliano Marrujo, cum laude. Roman Joseph Martinez, cum laude. Dylan Matthew Mazer. Aiden Sheffick McKinley. Torin Valencia Meganson. Ashley Diana Melendres, cum laude. Bailey Elizabeth Miller. Matthew Thomas Miller. Ryan Faith Miller. Melinda Luyen Modisette, cum laude. Alexander Norman Monka. Liana Maria Montaño Valencia. Diego Xavier Christopher Moore. Walter Gabriel Moy. Alexander Jordan Muller, cum laude. Trustee Tess Palazzi will assist in awarding the diploma. Tino Di Wanashe Muneri. Kirby Ray Myers. Sri Reka Nalandagal. Ethan Richard Nelson. Gabrielle Dung Niemer, cum laude. Evelyn Tui V. Win. Claire Beatrice O'Callahan. Samuel William Poppenguth. Aaron Tobias Parmeter.
Mihir Vimal Patel. Priya Pintu Patel. Atticus Luna Pecknick. Faculty member Chris Pecknick will assist in awarding the diploma. Ian Alexander Pendergrass. Avery Taylor Pettit. Ariana Pohl. Andrew June Potts, cum laude. Ryan Alexander Pullen. Claire Sophia Remby. Ethan Reed Richardson. Calvin Garrett Ridgway. Sydney Claire Rios Bruner. Campbell Elizabeth Roberts. Nathan Wardine Roberts. Jacob Tristan Roberts Baca, cum laude. Rosby Reese Robinson. Jackson Gray Rogers. Athletic staff member Troy Rogers, class of 1995, will assist in awarding the diploma. Cody Aaron Rowe. Addison Lynn Romano. Jonah Anthony Romero, cum laude. Daniel Thomas Ross, cum laude. Julia Charlotte Ross, cum laude. Leilani Jade Sakaman. Arya Hassani Sambandam. Jesse Lee Sanchez. Casey Jackson Savage. Kai Anthony Seidenberg, cum laude. Daniel David Shapiro, cum laude. Cole Thomas Smith. Trustee Tom Smith, class of 1989, will assist in awarding the diploma. Max Michael Sonnenberg. Andrew Michael Spears, cum laude. Connor Patrick Spears, cum laude. Zoe Evelyn Stady, in absentia. Megan Leanne Stein. Emma Claire Sullivan. Isabella Catherine Sy. Ramses Nunag Tañedo. Madison Marie Tanner Creasy. Sophia Nietzsche Taylor, cum laude. Rachel Isabella Templeton, cum laude. Catherine Brindley Thuma. Yasmin Danielle Torres. Cynthia Maria Vietz. Joseph Anton John Behill. Noah Michael Behill. Staff member Melissa Seligman will assist in awarding the diploma. Daniel Hartley Villarica, cum laude. Sarah Giachi Wong, cum laude. Michael Thomas Weber. Willa Olivia Weiss. Roger Martin Wilder. Brianna Sia, cum laude. Lilia Hope Yatskowitz. Harry Rishong Ying, in absentia. Dorsa Zamanian. Lily Yilin Zhang, cum laude.
I will now ask the class of 2021, please rise. Class of 2021, you are now graduates of Albuquerque Academy. Congratulations to all of you. At this time, please move your tassel from the right to the left. Families, staff, faculty, and friends, I present to you the newest graduates of Albuquerque Academy, the class of 2021.